We are gathered here today to discuss Misfits number 12, the first Misfits card of the year, and it was pretty fun. It definitely exceeded my expectations going into it. We started off with two prelim fights, two finishes. We're going to go through those pretty quickly and then get into the main card. Up first was Most Wanted versus Joey Knight. I think it was a little bit of a mismatch here. You could tell the experience was not on the same level. Joey Knight gets the stoppage after a dominating performance, had a clean knockdown, and as the rounds were going, he was just completely taking over. But I do think Most Wanted took a big chance with this fight. A lot of people declined this offer, and I think he actually has a lot of potential. You can tell he needs some more experience in the ring, but I do see the potential, and I do think Misfits will have both guys coming back. And then we had DTG versus Miles Raksu. DTG, a familiar face in the Misfits scene, gets the victory after the second round. Miles' corner called the fight, and I do think that was the best decision. It was not going to go well for him if they continued that fight. And I'll say this about DTG. This was his first performance where I saw a significant improvement. Prior to this, I felt like he was looking the same in most of his fights. I was not too impressed overall with his career so far, but I definitely saw the improvement in this fight. I thought his cardio looked better. I thought his defense was a lot better, especially his head movement. He is racking up a few victories now at this point, and Misfits is definitely going to keep him going. I'm excited to see what's next for him. And then to open up the main card, we had Chase Damore versus Minicon, and this was a pretty ugly fight. I feel like if you've seen both of them fight in the past, you would have known it was going to be an ugly fight. The heavyweight division, not very technical, throwing a lot of haymakers, gassing out quickly. It was not pretty. But ultimately, Chase Damore gets the victory. A pretty clear decision win for him. He was able to somewhat use his reach to his advantage, and just his pure size helped him a lot in this fight. He was really throwing Minicon around in there. I was surprised the ref was kind of letting him get away with it at some points during the fight. But it was deserved. Chase Damore's first ever boxing victory. You can tell he's trying to improve. He's trying to put some technical ability in these fights, but it kind of just all goes out of the window after that first round. After he's been hit, he's thrown off his game plan a little bit, he kind of goes back to his old ways. But I'm sure he's going to keep improving, and I know we're going to see him back probably for another fight against Tempo Arts, the rematch for the heavyweight belt. Up next was Ben Williams versus Fez Batista. I didn't really know much about either guy going into this fight. All I knew was that Ben Williams was the big favorite going into this fight. I heard he was going to walk through him, that this was not going to be competitive, that it was a mismatch. And while he did get the clear victory, I think this fight was a lot tougher than he expected. Fez Batista showed a lot of heart in there. He refused to go away, and I think it shocked Ben Williams. It was an impressive performance. You could tell the skill level was pretty high for a Misfits level fight. I thought it was a fun fight. I'm glad Fez Batista held his own in there. Good victory for Ben Williams. Let's move on. Up next was the performance of the night with Fox the G versus Small Spartan J. I thought this fight was going to be a lot closer. I was impressed with Small Spartan J's last performance. I haven't seen too much footage on Fox the G. I've been very aware of him, and I knew that this was a big debut, but I did not expect him to look as good as he did in there. Great performance. Round 1 knockout. One of the best knockouts we have ever seen on Misfits. He was out cold. It was a pretty scary sight. He was kind of shaking. It was a brutal knockout, and I was not expecting it. Insane performance for Fox the G. What a debut fight. This opens up a lot of opportunities for him. He's definitely going to be one of the big future Misfits stars. After this one, we kind of had a strange fight. Definitely, I would say the biggest mismatch of the night. And that was Tristan Ham versus not Logan Paul. I'm honestly surprised this fight got the placement that it did for the main card. If you watched any of the training footage, you knew Tristan Ham was going to go in here and knock him out, finish him pretty easily. And that's exactly what happened, not Logan Paul, which is such a strange thing that he's been given a fight on Misfits. His whole character is just looking like Logan Paul. I think that's just kind of strange. But anyway, not Logan Paul opened up, throwing a ton of punches. Tristan Ham pretty much just covered up, let him go crazy to start off the round, and then he started picking him apart. Clearly the more skilled fighter, and he puts him away. It was a one-sided performance. Maybe they're trying to build him up, and if that's the case, they did what they wanted. They're definitely going to bring him back. I'm not so sure about not Logan Paul. Up next, we probably had the fight I was most excited for. It was my most anticipated fight, and that was Ashley Roxu versus OJ Rose. I didn't know who to pick in this fight. I thought it was going to be a very close fight. I'm honestly a fan of both guys, and that's what we got. It was a very close fight, and it ends in a draw. I saw more people saying that if it wasn't a draw, it should have gone to OJ Rose. I also had it 2-2, but I don't think you could have given another round to Roxu, but you could have given one of those rounds to OJ Rose for the victory, but I'm not mad at the draw. I want to see a rematch. 6 rounds this time. I don't want to see 4 rounds. These guys are skilled enough to do 6. I think it would make it a much more clear winner. Let's run it back. I wouldn't even mind a main event for one of these smaller Misfits shows. I think they deserve it. They step up to every opportunity Misfits gives them. Let's see the rematch. In our co-main event, we had Elle Brook versus AJ Bunker 2. I would say it was the first clean knockout that we've seen from the female side of Misfits boxing. It was a nasty shot landed from Elle Brook. I expected Elle Brook to win this fight, but not in that way. That was huge. I know she's definitely excited about that one. It was an impressive finish. I don't think she's ready for another fight against Julie Polka. I don't think she's also trying to fight at that weight. So I don't really know what's next for her. They do need to bring in more female fighters for this weight division. But for now, very impressive win. Clean knockout. It was a cool co-main event. And then for our main event, Ed Matthews versus the mystery opponent who ended up being Luis Pineda again. They try to fool everybody with bringing out a bunch of other Misfits fighters, Ginty, B-Dave, Swarms. I was very confused at what was going on. I thought they were turning it into a tag team for a second. I would not have liked that, so I'm glad it was just one fighter, and it was Luis Pineda. Some people were saying they were disappointed in the reveal that it was Pineda. I wasn't thinking it was going to be Pineda, but I did think that it was going to be someone around his skill level, around his star level. Because if it was some huge name, they would have promoted the fight with the name attached. They would not have put someone as a mystery opponent who brings in a lot of attention. So I wasn't expecting anything crazy. For the fight itself, I was worried that Pineda was going to get clipped early in the fight just because of how aggressive Ed Matthews is. But he was able to hang in there. He kept his composure, and that's when he started taking over this fight. You could tell the technical ability was 100% in favor of Pineda. He knew what he was doing in there. He started picking him apart. Ed Matthews, after his berserker moment where he just goes crazy in the first round, he kind of looked like he didn't know what to do after that. That's always just been his game plan. And then he looked confused, like he didn't know what to expect. Pineda lands a nasty shot to drop him, and then he knocks him out of the ring to end the fight. Ed Matthews doesn't even come back. He just leaves after getting embarrassed by my man Pineda. It was pretty interesting. I'm really happy for Pineda, man. It's been awesome to see his comeback. He seems like a really good dude. He deserves it. I'm glad that he got his win here on the big stage main event. So, not the biggest names on this card. There weren't the biggest fights, but the fights themselves were a lot of fun. They were exciting, and it did a great job of building up the recurring names that we see on Misfits. Guys like OJ Rose, Ashley Roxu, DTG, and now someone like Fox the G. So, what did you guys think? I had a lot of fun with it. Let me know what you thought of the card. Who do you want to see these guys fight next? Let me know. Subscribe for more boxing content and updates, more combat sports updates. The support is much appreciated. I'll see you next time. Peace.